Donald Trump just triggered a massive backlash, and it's bigger than you think. The scene is unfolding in Greenland, but it's not just a diplomatic visit. U.S. senators, both Republicans and Democrats, have arrived, standing shoulder to shoulder with Greenlandic and Danish leaders. But this isn't just about politics. This is a direct response to President Trump's controversial threats against Greenland and NATO. Here's the shocking part. These lawmakers aren't just there to talk. They're sending a clear, unified message. If Trump moves forward with his threats, they'll use every ounce of their power to stop him, up to impeachment. And what's more, they're doing it in Greenland, sending a message to the world and to you that the stakes are higher than ever. But here's the twist. It's not just about Greenland. This could change the entire balance of power in NATO. So why should you care? Well, if this battle escalates, it could reshape international relations in ways we can't even imagine yet. Stick around, because what happens next could change the way we view U.S. foreign policy forever. What started as a routine diplomatic visit has now exploded into a political wildfire. U.S. senators on both sides of the aisle are united in an unprecedented move. They're not just meeting with leaders in Greenland and Denmark. They're making it crystal clear that President Trump's actions could ignite a geopolitical storm. At the core of this drama, Trump's threats to take military action in Greenland, a move that would shatter not only NATO's unity, but also decades of U.S. foreign policy. So what's really happening here? Here's the question no one's asking. Could this be the breaking point for NATO? If Trump pushes forward, will these lawmakers on both sides stand firm enough to stop him, even if it means confronting the commander-in-chief head-on? The bigger question is, why has the United States suddenly set its sights on Greenland? What does it mean for you, the everyday citizen, when international alliances are suddenly shaken to their core over one man's political gamble? The stakes just skyrocketed. U.S. senators from both the Republican and Democratic parties have now drawn a red line in the sand. They've made it clear, if Trump moves forward with his plan to take control of Greenland, they will do whatever it takes to stop him. And they're not just talking. This is a full-blown declaration of war within the political system. Senator Lisa Murkowski, in an emotional speech from Greenland, made it abundantly clear this is about more than just a land grab. It's about protecting NATO, protecting the integrity of U.S. alliances, and making sure that no one country, especially not the U.S., takes any unilateral military action in Europe. What's missing from this picture? The fact that Trump hasn't backed down, not once. And now these senators are turning up the heat, signaling that they might have the power to bring him down. Notice what's not being said here. The real danger isn't just Trump's rhetoric. It's what comes next. What happens when the U.S. and its allies can't trust each other anymore? What happens when the biggest military force in the world starts playing games with alliances that have held strong for decades? This is where things take a turn. The situation isn't just about diplomatic tensions. It's about the very survival of NATO. And as the tension grows, one thing becomes clear. This is no longer just a squabble between two nations. This is the beginning of something far bigger. Remember the Cold War? That's the kind of global pressure we're looking at now. The U.S. and its allies have been under attack before, but never like this. Greenland, a tiny island in the Arctic, is now the focal point of a geopolitical showdown. And if Trump gets his way, this could reshape the global order. The wild part? This isn't some far-off hypothetical. This is happening right now. Lawmakers are already preparing to block Trump's actions with everything they've got. From impeachment to sanctions, the U.S. Senate is ready to pull out all the stops. But here's the part nobody is saying out loud. The fallout from this could have catastrophic consequences, not just for Greenland, but for every NATO ally. What happens when trust breaks down between superpowers who were supposed to be working together? Just when you think it can't get any more intense, it does. The reality is, the rhetoric coming from Trump is not just a danger to Greenland, it's a direct threat to the entire NATO alliance. Senator Jeanne Shaheen hit the nail on the head when she warned that even the suggestion of military action in Greenland could fracture NATO's unity. But the problem isn't just in the words, it's in the actions that are following them. Military bases, critical mineral deals, threats of invasion. This isn't just about strategy. This is about real-world consequences that could tear apart long-standing alliances. Here's the kicker. It's already happening. Senator Shaheen made it clear that there's a growing divide in NATO that's being fueled by Trump's threats. The chaos is unfolding faster than anyone expected. And when the foreign ministers of Denmark and Greenland spoke up, they revealed the chilling truth. Ordinary citizens are worried that at any moment they could wake up to an invasion. What changes everything? The fact that these threats aren't just rhetoric anymore. They're moving the needle in ways no one anticipated. We're talking about real national security risks. And the longer this drags on, the more dangerous it becomes. Now, everything is escalating, and fast. This isn't just one bad decision. It's a series of dominoes falling, each one more dangerous than the last. First, we had senators from both sides calling for action. Then we had Greenlandic lawmakers expressing their fear of invasion. But that's just the start. Next, the international community is stepping in. European countries are sending special forces to protect Greenland from what they see as an imminent threat. The pressure is building on both sides, and there's no sign of it stopping. And let's not forget the big reveal. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has now entered the picture, and his relationship with Elon Musk could change everything. Musk's AI system, Grok, is about to be deployed in the Pentagon's classified networks. This is not just about military strategy. It's about how power is wielded behind the scenes. What happens if this continues? The entire balance of power could shift. We're looking at an unprecedented global crisis with players like Russia and China watching closely, ready to take advantage of every misstep. This isn't just about politicians or military power. It's about real people, and the consequences are hitting home for them right now. The residents of Greenland, a place most people don't even think about, are now caught in the middle of an international power struggle. They fear waking up one morning to find their lives turned upside down by an invasion they never saw coming. Imagine living in a place where every conversation, every worry centers around the question, will we be attacked today? That's the reality for many Greenlanders right now. And it's not just Greenland. This is affecting Denmark too. People are wondering if NATO can hold together or if their allies will turn on them when the going gets tough. If this feels familiar to you, say so in the comments. Because this is more than just politics. It's about personal safety, sovereignty, and the fragile trust between nations. Now, let's step back and look at what's really going on behind the scenes. This isn't just about Greenland or Trump. It's about the power structures that allow this kind of chaos to unfold. What's happening here is a direct reflection of how fragile international relationships can be when leverage, spectacle, and fear are the driving forces. It's not just about who holds the military power. It's about how easily these global tensions can be manipulated to serve certain interests. The threats against Greenland, they're not just about land or resources. They're a tool in a much larger game. The real question is who benefits from this kind of instability? It's clear now what's happening with Greenland is part of a larger systematic effort to shift alliances, weaken NATO, and create divisions that can be exploited. And here's the unsettling truth. When systems of power are driven by fear, it's the most vulnerable who suffer first. This entire episode shows just how easily the narrative can be twisted and how little it takes for the foundation of international cooperation to crumble. Where do we go from here? There are two possible paths ahead, and neither one looks good. On one hand, we could see a complete breakdown of NATO's unity, with countries splintering off as they choose sides in this geopolitical drama. In that scenario, Greenland becomes a pawn in a much larger game, one that could easily spiral into something far more dangerous with global implications. On the other hand, we might see these lawmakers from both parties rise to the occasion and stop Trump in his tracks. If they succeed, they'll send a powerful message that bipartisan cooperation can still work in the face of international threats. But don't expect that to come easy. If Trump's base digs in its heels, the battle could rage on, creating more instability and deepening divides not just within the U.S., but across the Atlantic. The real question now is, how much longer can this go on before it breaks something permanent? The next move is already being set into motion, and it could change everything. The deep, unsettling truth of this whole situation? This isn't just about Greenland. It's about a world where international trust is rapidly eroding, and one bad decision could change everything. It's about power, fear, and how quickly things can unravel when those in charge are more focused on spectacle than stability. The bigger picture is clear. This could set the stage for future geopolitical chaos. Greenland might be the flashpoint, but the real question is, who's next? And just when you think it's over, there's always another twist waiting in the wings. To stay on top of this story and get the latest analysis, don't forget to subscribe and follow. There's much more to come, and you don't want to miss it.